Not all heroes wear crowns or command armies. Some change the world quietly, through courage, sacrifice, and relentless hope. Today we shine a light on the unsung heroes of history, people you may have never heard of but whose impact still shapes our lives. From war zones to hospitals, from segregated buses to scientific breakthroughs, their stories remind us, even the smallest acts of courage can change history. Let's meet a few of these remarkable individuals. The roar of the Blitz, the chilling silence of occupied France, these were the soundscapes of World War II. Cities were shrouded in darkness, and the world seemed to hold its breath as conflict raged across continents. In these uncertain times, acts of courage and defiance became beacons of hope for millions. Noor Inayat Khan, a British Indian woman of remarkable resolve, chose a path fraught with danger, becoming a spy for the British Special Operations Executive. Born to an Indian Sufi mystic and an American mother, Noor was raised on principles of peace and compassion, yet she answered the call to resist tyranny. She could have lived a life of comfort, protected by her family's legacy, but the fires of resistance burned within her. Noor believed that freedom was worth any sacrifice, and she was determined to fight for it, even if it meant risking everything she held dear. Trained as a wireless operator, she parachuted into Nazi-occupied France, becoming a vital link between London and the French resistance. Her role was perilous. Wireless operators were among the most hunted by the Gestapo, and their average life expectancy was just 6 weeks. Her mission was clear: transmit vital information, coordinate resistance efforts, and be a beacon of hope for those fighting in the shadows. Every message she sent carried the weight of countless lives depending on her. Picture her, huddled over her radio in a dimly lit safe house, the air thick with tension and static, every keystroke a risk, every transmission a lifeline to the outside world. Each coded message was a victory against the Nazi regime, a small act of defiance that chipped away at the enemy's control. Noor's courage inspired those around her, and her work helped keep the resistance alive. Noor moved from safe house to safe house, always one step ahead of the Gestapo. She lived in constant danger, never knowing who she could trust, yet she pressed on, driven by her unwavering sense of duty. Betrayed by an informant, Noor was captured. Her arrest sent shockwaves through the resistance, but her bravery did not falter. Despite brutal interrogation, she refused to betray her comrades. Noor endured torture and isolation, yet she never revealed a single secret, protecting her fellow agents to the very end. Even in a Nazi prison, her spirit remained unbroken. She made 2 daring escape attempts, refusing to surrender her hope for freedom. Noor Inayat Khan was executed at Dachau in 1944. Her last word, liberté, echoed her lifelong commitment to freedom and justice, a final act of defiance in the face of cruelty. Posthumously awarded the George Cross, Noor's legacy continues to inspire generations. Her story is a testament to the power of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring fight for liberty. Now, we turn to a different battlefield. The hospitals of 19th century Vienna, a city bustling with innovation, yet shadowed by tragedy within its medical wards. Childbed fever, a mysterious and terrifying illness, claimed the lives of countless mothers and newborns. The joy of childbirth was too often replaced by grief, as families mourned loved ones lost to an invisible enemy. In this era, one man dared to challenge the accepted norms, Ignaz Semmelweis, whose determination would change the course of medical history. A Hungarian physician, Semmelweis was haunted by the plight of these mothers. He could not ignore the suffering he witnessed day after day, and he became obsessed with finding a solution. He meticulously studied the wards, comparing patient outcomes and searching for patterns that others had missed. His attention to detail was relentless. His breakthrough came when he noticed that doctors and medical students, fresh from autopsies, were unknowingly carrying deadly particles on their hands from the dead to the living. The connection was invisible but devastating. The solution? Hand washing with a chlorine solution. A simple act, but one that was radical for its time. Semmelweis insisted that everyone entering the maternity ward cleanse their hands thoroughly. Mortality rates plummeted almost overnight, proving his theory beyond doubt. Mothers and babies survived, and hope returned to the wards. But the medical establishment resisted, dismissing his findings as unscientific and unnecessary. Many doctors refused to believe that their own hands could be the cause of such suffering. Semmelweis was ostracized, his career stalled, and his reputation tarnished. He faced ridicule and isolation from his peers, who clung to tradition over evidence. The community clung to outdated practices, and preventable deaths continued. The tragedy was compounded by the refusal to accept change. Driven to despair, Semmelweis died in obscurity, his contributions unrecognized in his lifetime. He spent his final years isolated, tormented by the knowledge that he had found a way to save lives, yet was powerless to make the world listen. Today, he is hailed as the savior of mothers, his work the foundation of modern antiseptic practices. Hospitals around the world now honor his legacy. His story is a reminder. Groundbreaking ideas often face fierce resistance, and progress is rarely easy. Semmelweis's unwavering dedication to saving lives, even in the face of adversity, endures as a testament to courage and perseverance. He never gave up, even when the world turned its back on him. He challenged the status quo, and though he paid a heavy price, his legacy lives on in every hospital, every clinic, and every act of care. The simple act of hand-washing, now routine and taken for granted, was once revolutionary, a turning point in the fight against infection. Semmelweis's courage changed the course of medicine, paving the way for future discoveries in hygiene and patient safety. His story urges us to question, to observe, and to never stop fighting for what is right, even when the world resists. Sometimes, saving lives begins with a single, simple act, one that can change the world for generations to come. The year is 1955. In the heart of the American South, a storm is brewing, one that will change the course of history. The streets of Alabama are alive with the sounds of daily life, but beneath the surface, tension crackles like static in the air. The American South simmers with racial tension. Segregation is the law of the land, dividing communities and dictating where people can eat, drink, and even sit on a bus. For Black Americans, every day is a reminder of the harsh realities of injustice. In Montgomery, Alabama, a young woman named Claudette Colvin boarded a crowded bus, unknowingly stepping onto the stage of history. She was just a high school student, but her actions would echo for generations. Just 15, Claudette had witnessed the daily indignities and systemic racism that permeated every aspect of life. She saw her friends and family humiliated, forced to the back of buses, denied basic rights and treated as second-class citizens. On this day, the injustice became unbearable. The bus was crowded, the air thick with expectation and fear. Claudette felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. Ordered to give up her seat to a white passenger, Claudette chose to take a stand. She refused to move, her heart pounding, knowing the risks she faced: arrest, violence, and public scorn. "It's my constitutional right to sit here," she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. In that moment, Claudette was not just speaking for herself, but for every person who had ever been told they were less than. Her refusal was an assertion of her humanity and dignity. She was determined to claim her place, no matter the consequences, and her courage sent shockwaves through her community. Claudette's defiance came 9 months before Rosa Parks's more famous act. Yet her story was largely hidden from the spotlight, overshadowed by the movement's need for a more acceptable face. Unlike Parks, Claudette was a teenager, her story considered too raw for the movement's narrative. She was young, outspoken, and unafraid to challenge authority, even when it meant standing alone. Despite the risks, Claudette and 4 other women challenged segregation laws in court. They faced threats, intimidation, and the possibility of retaliation, but their determination never wavered. Their case, Browder v. Gale, became pivotal in the fight for civil rights. It was this lawsuit that ultimately led to the Supreme Court ruling that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. Their courage helped dismantle the legal framework of segregation. The victory was not just legal but symbolic, a beacon of hope for millions who dreamed of equality. Claudette's story, initially overshadowed, faded from public memory. For decades, her name was rarely mentioned in history books, her contribution nearly forgotten. Yet her act of courage had a profound impact on the civil rights movement. She inspired others to stand up, to speak out, and to demand justice no matter the cost. Her story reminds us, even when the world tries to silence you, a single voice can spark a revolution. Claudette Colvin's bravery is a testament to the power of youth, conviction, and the unbreakable human spirit. Claudette Colvin's bravery helped change America. Her legacy endures, reminding us that history is shaped not just by the famous, but by those who dare to stand up when it matters most. History is filled with hidden champions. When we remember them, we honor the spirit of bravery and hope that shapes our world. Let their stories ignite a spark of inspiration. a reminder that each of us can make a difference.